Let's talk about how to give someone a piece of your mind to supersize and grow your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. I'm going to share a couple fun things today. One thing I learned from my dad when I was young and I guess a pretty little girl. And then one thing I learned from my daughter about being a great leader and a great stress reliever at work. And that has to do with, for my daughter, the giant stress ball. I learned from her, if you want to give someone a piece of your mind, maybe you should just have a giant stress ball to squeeze or to toss around at work instead of telling people off. Now, she worked in a retail environment. She ran a Burton store in Minneapolis, and sometimes customers can be a challenge, especially at the retail level. And so she had found this giant stress ball when we were Christmas shopping one year, and she's like, I'm getting that for work. And so just to release stress and tension and to communicate better with one another, they would play with this giant stress ball. Well, she just got one for her daughter, and I thought, oh, I have to share that story because these are, okay, it's just fun. It's kind of addictive. Even when you're not stressed, you can just play with it and make fun shapes out of it. All right, so giving someone a piece of your mind. Now, I had a hard time finding any history on this particular idiom. I think a lot of the idioms that have to do with mind, I think the idea of the mind and mind science is a newer science, and so there isn't, even on the crazy internet where we think we can find everything and everything, there isn't much information about where these idioms came from. And there's hundreds of idioms about the mind, but nothing about where they originated, just what they mean. So to give someone a piece of your mind usually means you're going to tell them off, right? I would say, I'm going to tell somebody off. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind. I'm going to tell them angrily what they did wrong and how they hurt me and how they wronged me and how they're a bad person or what they did was bad. Probably what they did was bad, not that they're a bad person. I remember traveling in corporate America to Mexico and to Chicago and places like that with a particular salesman in our company. And he just happened to be a man, but I've seen women exhibit the exact same behavior. We were late for our flight, and it was our fault because we were late for our flight and we missed our flight. And he proceeded to chew out the flight attendant or the agent at the ticket counter because we had missed our flight. Now, I just stood back and watched this in awe and horror, because it wasn't the poor woman's fault that we had missed our flight, got our rental car back late, and were waiting to try to catch a new flight home. We were just in Chicago that trip, so it was close. And there's like a flight to Chicago, to Minneapolis from Chicago, just about every hour. Even during the pandemic, I think there were a lot of flights to Chicago and Minneapolis. But the point is, he was being so rude and so busy giving her a piece of his mind, he forgot to check himself and realize that it was his responsibility and he was the one that was late. He was blaming the wrong person. And we see that all the time. So my dad taught my sisters and I a good rule of thumb when we were young, that you praise in public and you criticize or coach or counsel. Did I say that wrong? Praise in public, criticize, coach, counsel in private. You don't ever degrade or put somebody down or give them negative feedback in front of other people. It is like the number one definition of a bad leader, a bad manager, a bad example is because it's bullying, right? It's bullying, it's embarrassing, it's treating people in a way that you would never want to be treated. See, I'm playing with the stress ball instead of talking. So praise in public, criticize in private, because probably almost everyone on the planet has had an experience where someone, and maybe it was somebody that had nothing to do with you, had nothing to do with work or your business, embarrass you by pointing out something that you did wrong, or pointing out a mistake that you made, or pointing out something about, God forbid, your appearance or your gender or your background or your differences. But if you've been in the world long enough, chances are it's happened to you. So I like to remind myself, if I'm going to give someone a piece of my mind, and I give people a piece of my mind pretty much every day, not in a negative way, but share my knowledge, share the wisdom, share the experiences that I've had over the last almost 49 years now in business and in corporate America. I share a piece of my mind in a positive way, as in transferring knowledge and things that I've acquired, experiences that I've acquired. I think it's up to like 1,500 days or so in a row now, with the exception of Christmas Eve 2019. I had COVID and I was Christmas Day, actually. I was too sick to even get out of bed, much less do videos that day. But otherwise, every day I show up and I give people a piece of my mind. Not a piece of my mind in an angry way, but by sharing something that I believe in, things that I feel strongly about, and I guess the truth according to me, right? The experiences that I've had. Otherwise, when it comes to giving people a piece of my mind, giving them feedback, I take a deep breath whenever I want to immediately respond to somebody, and I ask myself a couple of questions. Is the feedback that I want to give, the number one question that really slows me down and gets me to ponder it is the feedback for them? Is the feedback designed and to benefit them, or is it just to make me feel better, to get something off my chest? Is it helpful? Is it true? Is it really something that they did, or is it like my flying companion and my travel companion, not that person's fault at all? Is it helpful? Is it important? Is it necessary? Is it necessary that I flip somebody off if they cut me off in traffic? No, it's not necessary. Chances are the other person didn't even know that they did it. So, but the biggest question for me is it for that person? If it isn't for that person and for their benefit or their learning or their education, again, praise in public, criticize or give feedback if it's negative, especially in private. And I do believe we need to give people feedback if they do something that isn't right, or if they make a mistake. It's perfectly okay to make a mistake, but we want to teach them a better way, a different way of doing it in the future, so that it gets a better outcome, it gets a better result. So I'd love to know your experience with this. Have you ever given someone a piece of your mind in an angry way? I used to give my ex-husband a piece of my mind a lot, in the sense of the meaning of this particular idiom. But for the most part nowadays, nah, it's, if it's not for them, or if it's not worth my time and energy investing in it, then I'm not going to do it. I grew up in the quality industry, right? Or the quality function of manufacturing. And so to me, it's really important that we get feedback about how our products and services do or do not work. And so I'm always seeking out that kind of feedback. That is for me. It's for my company. I also will give that feedback to certain organizations, certain companies that I interact with. I will do that if I think it could benefit them, if they could do a better job serving me and other people that they serve. But if I know it's going to go in one ear, Ford Motor Company, and out the other, I will not waste my time. I had an experience with Ford giving them feedback one time, and they actually blamed me for their quality defect and their process defect. And I just shook my head and walked away, because it's easier for me to never do business with them again than to fight a system that is broken and decides that they're going to blame the customer when they do something wrong. So we pick our battles, we pick our feedback, we choose when and when not to participate. And we want to always make sure it's for the benefit of the other person, the other party, the other entity. Or why waste our time and energy, right? It's like trying to change somebody's mind about certain topics and long-held beliefs. Why would we argue with somebody about things that they have strong emotional attachments to? There's no point. And it doesn't matter. It only matters in our lives what we think and what we're creating. And, some people aren't for us. So I'm going to play with my stress ball some more. I wish you an absolutely awesome day. I'll be with you tomorrow with another mind and mental well-being related idiom for the month of March. I actually got a birthday tomorrow, so I'll be older and wiser tomorrow. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.